Earth's quantum arsenal. How humanity made alien empires tremble. Commander Zex'Varrax of the Galactic Hegemony flicked his third eye membrane in annoyance as the holographic display flickered before him. The quantum stabilizers on this outdated cruiser were absolutely pathetic. Just his luck to be stuck with last century's technology while attempting to catalog yet another backwater solar system. Run the analysis again, VYX. And try not to melt the processors this time. Zex sighed, his mandibles clicking in that distinctive way that made his subordinates wince. I swear by the 7 moons of Krell, if I have to file one more equipment malfunction report, I'll eject myself into the nearest black hole. Lieutenant VYX Nara bobbed her crested head apologetically. Yes, Commander. But the readings are unusual. The third planet shows significant technological advancement since our last survey 8 rotations ago. Define significant. Zex drawled, tentacle fingers drumming against the command console. Did they finally discover how to not poison their atmosphere, or are they still burning fossil fuels like cavemen with matches? VYX's 6 nostrils flared nervously. Well, they still burn the fossils, sir. But they've developed rudimentary quantum technology. The command deck went silent. Even the ship's atmospheric recyclers seemed to hold their breath. That's impossible, Zex whispered, all 4 of his hearts skipping a beat simultaneously. The probability calculators gave them at least another century before reaching quantum threshold. Are you absolutely certain? The readings are clear, Commander. Energy signatures consistent with controlled quantum manipulation. And, sir? They're weaponizing it. Well, wasn't that just perfect? Zex thought bitterly. The one time he got assigned to a routine survey mission, supposedly a punishment for that diplomatic incident on Rigel Prime, how was he supposed to know their ambassador's ceremonial headdress wasn't edible? And he stumbles upon the galactic equivalent of finding a toddler playing with a plasma grenade. Plot a course for Earth. Maximum stealth protocols. And someone wake up cultural specialist Dorn. We need his expertise on these humans. Dr. Amara Chin stared at the quantum reactor with a mixture of pride and terror. The glowing blue cylinder hummed with energy that, according to all previous understandings of physics, shouldn't exist. Yet here it was, stable and operational, defying the limitations that had constrained humanity for millennia. We did it, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the gentle thrumming of the machine. We actually did it. General Marcus Hayes, a man whose face seemed permanently frozen in a skeptical frown, grunted noncommittally. So it works. Great. When can we weaponize it? Amara shot him a withering look. It's not that simple, General. We've cracked open the door to manipulating the fundamental forces of reality. The military applications are just one small aspect, the only aspect that matters right now, Doctor. Hayes interrupted, his voice cutting like steel. China and Russia are breathing down our necks. Intelligence suggests they're close to their own breakthroughs. We need operational prototypes yesterday. Amara opened her mouth to argue when Dr. Raj Patel burst into the lab, his normally composed demeanor shattered by wild-eyed panic. We've got company, he gasped, tablets shaking in his hands. The deep space array, it picked up something entering our solar system. Something big that's trying very hard not to be seen. Hayes's frown deepened. Are we talking Chinese? Russian? Raj shook his head frantically. I'm talking not from Earth, General. Definitely not from Earth. Well, that was just spectacular timing, wasn't it? Amara thought, fighting the hysterical laugh bubbling in her throat. After millennia of wondering if we were alone in the universe, visitors show up the exact week humanity starts messing with quantum physics. Talk about cosmic coincidence. Or cosmic cause and effect? Lock down the facility. Hayes barked into his comm unit. And get me the president. Cultural specialist Dornthal was, without question, the most irritating member of any species Zex had ever encountered. The fact that he was also the foremost expert on primitive civilizations was the universe's idea of a cosmic joke. Fascinating, simply fascinating, Dorn exclaimed, his translucent skin pulsating with excited bioluminescence as he studied the scans of Earth. Do you realize what we're witnessing, Commander? It's unprecedented. No species in recorded history has jumped from fossil fuels to quantum manipulation within a single generation. Yes, we're all very impressed with the monkeys and their new toys, Zex muttered. The question is, how concerned should we be? Dorn's 17 fingers danced across his data pad. Based on their media broadcasts, the humans are still fractured into competing nation-states. The quantum technology appears limited to a single facility in a region called Nevada. Delightfully arid place. Reminds me of home. Focus, specialist, Zex snapped. Right, sorry. Their quantum signature suggests they've achieved basic matter-energy manipulation, possibly rudimentary space-time distortion. Nowhere near our capabilities, of course, but… Dorn paused, his usual enthusiasm dimming. If weaponized effectively, they could potentially create devastation on a planetary scale. Possibly beyond. Lieutenant Vyx shifted uncomfortably. Standard protocol for civilizations approaching threat level Omega is immediate quarantine or neutralization. Or contact and guidance, Dorn added quickly. The Hegemony Charter clearly states that emerging civilizations showing unusual promise can be considered for accelerated integration. Zex laughed, a harsh sound like rocks in a garbage disposal. Are you suggesting we welcome these humans, who've just invented the means to annihilate themselves and potentially others, into galactic society? The Council would have our appendages for dinner. Not necessarily, came a new voice. All heads turned to see Strategy Officer Crelmore entering the bridge, her exoskeleton gleaming under the ship's lights. The Praxians have been pushing for expansion of influence in this sector. If the humans have indeed developed quantum technology independently, securing them as allies would significantly strengthen our position. Zex considered this. Politics. It always came down to politics. So we have three options: destroy them, contain them, or recruit them. I vote for option 3, Dorn said cheerfully. Nobody asked you. Zex growled, but the specialist's enthusiasm was, annoyingly, infectious. Fine. We'll attempt contact. But at the first sign of hostility, we revert to containment protocols. Prepare a delegation shuttle. Dorn, Krell, you're with me. Oh, splendid! Dorn clapped his hands, each pair making a different pitched sound. Should I bring gift baskets? I've studied human customs extensively, and they seem to appreciate offerings of fermented grape liquid and circular confections. Zex stared at him blankly. We're not attending a human dinner party. We're making first contact with a potentially volatile species that just discovered how to tear holes in reality. Exactly, Dorn beamed. Wine and cookies it is. The quantum research facility buried beneath the Nevada desert had transformed overnight from a scientific installation to a military fortress. Armed guards patrolled every corridor, and the world's foremost experts in physics, astronomy, and defense had been shuttled in under the highest security protocols. Amara found herself in a conference room that hadn't existed 24 hours earlier, surrounded by grim-faced generals and ashen politicians. On the massive screen dominating the wall, satellite imagery showed nothing. Which was precisely the problem. There should be something there. Dr. Eliza Wong, head of astronomical sciences, explained, pointing to an apparently empty section of space just beyond lunar orbit. Our gravitational sensors detect a massive object, approximately 2 kilometers in length. But visually, there's nothing. They're employing some kind of advanced cloaking technology. How long until they reach Earth? Asked the President, her normally confident voice tight with tension. At current velocity? 6 hours, Madam President. General Hayes cleared his throat. We need to deploy the quantum prototype. It's our only advantage. It's untested, Amara protested. We have no idea what would happen if. A young lieutenant burst into the room. Ma'am, Mr. President, sirs, we're receiving a transmission from them. The room fell silent as the main screen flickered and resolved into an image that would forever change humanity's understanding of their place in the universe. The alien was, well, alien. A vaguely insected creature with 4 arms, a crested head sporting 3 eyes in a triangular arrangement, and skin the color of burnished copper. When it spoke, its mandibles clicked rhythmically, but somehow, everyone in the room understood the words perfectly. People of Earth, I am Commander Zex'Varrax of the Galactic Hegemony. Your recent advancements in quantum technology have come to our attention. We request an immediate dialogue regarding your intentions and future development. Please respond with coordinates for a meeting location. As the transmission ended, the President turned to the stunned assembly. Well, she said dryly, I guess we're not alone after all. Suggestions, people? Raj raised his hand tentatively. Should we offer them refreshments? The landing site chosen for first contact was, in Zex's opinion, utterly ridiculous. A flat expanse of desert with bizarre symbols burned into the ground. Apparently the humans thought concentric circles would help guide their shuttle landing. As if they were using primitive visual navigation instead of quantum positioning. They're trying to be helpful, Dorn said cheerfully, noting Zex's disgust. It's quite charming, really. Charming isn't the word I'd use. Zex muttered as their shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere. Krell, are the defensive systems online? Strategy Officer Krell nodded, her crystalline eyes scanning the readouts. Full defensive capabilities, though I remind the commander that aggressive action is only authorized if the humans initiate hostilities. Yes, I read the manual, Zex snapped. I'm not planning to incinerate them immediately, though I reserve the right to change my mind if they're as annoying as Dorn. The cultural specialist beamed, completely missing the insult. Commander, I suggest we approach this meeting with utmost diplomacy. These humans have achieved something remarkable. They've achieved the bare minimum for becoming a galactic threat. Zex interrupted. Let's not start planning their hegemony initiation ceremony just yet. The shuttle touched down with barely a whisper, dust swirling around its gleaming hull. Through the viewports, they could see the human delegation waiting, a small group surrounded by what were obviously armed guards, though their primitive projectile weapons were about as threatening as pointed sticks to beings protected by quantum phase shielding. Remember, Zex warned as the exit ramp began to descend. No promises, no technology sharing, and for the love of all cosmic forces, Dorn, try not to embarrass our entire species. I would never! Dorn protested, adjusting the container of cookies he insisted on bringing. Though I should mention that in some human cultures, direct eye contact is considered, not now. Zex hissed as the ramp completed its descent and Earth's sunlight flooded the shuttle interior. The commander took a deep breath, straightened his ceremonial mantle, and stepped forward to make history. First contact with humans. What could possibly go wrong? Everything, as it turned out. Everything could go wrong. Amara had imagined first contact scenarios countless times during late nights in the lab. Somehow, none of those daydreams had prepared her for the reality of watching 3 distinctly different alien species descend a ramp from an impossibly sleek spacecraft. The leader was clearly the insected being from the transmission, Commander Zex'Varrax, flanked by what appeared to be a crystalline humanoid with glowing eyes and a shorter, almost translucent creature clutching. Was that a plate of cookies? Welcome to Earth, the President said, stepping forward with remarkable composure. We are honored by your presence and look forward to peaceful dialogue. The insected commander made that strange clicking sound with his mandibles before responding. The honor is mutual, though I must inform you that your recent quantum experiments have raised significant concerns within the galactic hegemony. The translucent alien suddenly pushed forward, practically vibrating with excitement. But they're absolutely fascinating experiments. Truly remarkable achievement. I'm cultural specialist Dornthal, and I've studied your species extensively. I bring traditional Earth greeting confections. Your planetary entertainment broadcast suggested these would be appropriate. As the alien thrust forward a plate of what looked suspiciously like Oreo cookies, Amara caught the commander's expression. Somehow, despite the completely alien facial structure, she recognized exasperation when she saw it. Please excuse Specialist Dorn's enthusiasm, Commander Zex said dryly. He tends to get overexcited around new species. General Hayes stepped forward, his posture rigid. Let's cut to the chase. Are you here to threaten us over our quantum research? The crystalline alien's eyes pulsed with a cold light. The hegemony does not threaten human. We maintain galactic stability through mutual cooperation, or containment where necessary. That sounded an awful lot like a threat to me. Hayes growled. Great, Amara thought. Less than 2 minutes into humanity's first alien encounter, and we're already on the brink of interstellar diplomatic incident. This had to be some kind of cosmic record. Perhaps, the president interjected smoothly, we should continue this discussion somewhere more comfortable. We've prepared facilities for dialogue. Commander Zex seemed to relax slightly. That would be acceptable. Though I must insist that we discuss your quantum technology and its potential applications immediately. As the two delegations began moving toward the waiting vehicles, Amara found herself walking alongside the enthusiastic alien called Dorn, who was peppering her with questions about Earth cuisine, fashion, and entertainment. Is it true humans voluntarily consume capsaicin compounds that cause pain sensations? Fascinating pain-pleasure response. And your visual entertainment, movies, do you really watch fictional scenarios for emotional stimulation? Delightful concept. Despite the gravity of the situation, Amara couldn't help but smile. You seem to know a lot about us. Oh yes! I've intercepted your broadcasts for years. I'm particularly fond of your sitcoms. The concept of finding humor in awkward social situations is uniquely human. My personal favorite is something called The Office. Such delicious discomfort. Meanwhile, ahead of them, she could see Commander Zex engaged in what appeared to be a tense conversation with the President and General Hayes. The fate of humanity potentially hung in the balance, and here she was, discussing television preferences with an alien enthusiast. Just another day at the office, right? If the office happened to be ground zero for humanity's cosmic debut, little did anyone realize that the true test was yet to come. Because while Earth's quantum technology had caught the hegemony's attention, it had also attracted notice from elsewhere in the galaxy. Entities with far less diplomatic intentions than even the prickly Commander Zex. And they were already on their way. The meeting facility, hastily converted from a military bunker, buzzed with tension as humans and aliens attempted the galaxy's most awkward diplomatic dance. Commander Zex sat rigidly at the conference table, all three eyes fixed on the holographic display showing Earth's quantum reactor. So, he said, mandibles clicking in what Dr. Amara Chen was beginning to recognize as irritation. You discovered quantum entanglement manipulation by accident? Dr. Raj Patel nodded enthusiastically. Essentially, we were attempting to create a more efficient energy source using particle acceleration, when Dr. Chen noticed an anomalous reaction in the spare me the tedious details. Zex interrupted, antennae twitching. The point is, you stumbled upon technology that most civilizations spend centuries carefully developing, with no understanding of its galactic implications. General Hayes leaned forward, eyes narrowing. What exactly are these implications you keep mentioning? The crystalline alien, Strategy Officer Crowmore, responded, her voice like wind chimes in a storm. Quantum manipulation at your current level could, if weaponized, create localized reality fractures. Imagine tears in the fabric of space-time, consuming everything within range. But it could also revolutionize energy production, medical science, and interstellar travel. Dorn interjected cheerfully. somehow having acquired a human coffee mug that looked comically small in his 17-fingered grip. The humans have such potential. Potential for catastrophe, Zex muttered. The president maintained her diplomatic smile, though Amara noted the widening of her knuckles. We understand your concerns, Commander. However, we can assure you that our research is primarily focused on peaceful applications. Ah, yes, Zex drawled sarcastically. Just like your nuclear technology was primarily focused on peaceful applications. Your historical broadcasts suggest otherwise. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I believe? An uncomfortable silence fell over the human delegation. Amara cleared her throat. With respect, Commander, we've learned from our history. The quantum reactor was designed with multiple fail-safes. The facility's alarm system suddenly erupted in a cacophony of blaring sirens. Red emergency lights bathed the room in an ominous glow. What now? Zex sighed, as if the universe were personally inconveniencing him. A panicked technician burst through the door. Multiple objects just entered Earth's atmosphere. They're not ours, and they're not responding to communications. The room erupted into chaos as screens flickered to life, showing 7 sleek, predatory-looking vessels descending through the clouds. Krell's crystalline form pulsed with alarming intensity. Vraxarian raiders! How did they find this location? They must have detected our approach. Zex growled, rising to his feet. Specialist Dorn, return to the shuttle and signal the cruiser for immediate support. What exactly are Vraxarian raiders? General Hayes demanded, already barking orders into his comm unit. Think of them as galactic pirates. Dorn explained, suddenly serious for the first time since his arrival. Except with quantum-phase weapons and a particularly unpleasant habit of harvesting useful technology, and the beings who created it. Great, Amara thought. Not even one full day of knowing aliens exist, and we're already caught in the middle of an interstellar conflict. Talk about a steep learning curve. Commander Zex had experienced many embarrassing moments in his long career. Being caught with his thorax exposed during the Regelian diplomatic fiasco. That unfortunate shuttlecraft incident near the Cygnus black hole. But having primitives discover his cruiser's tactical vulnerability? That was a new low. What do you mean your ship's quantum shield generators need 20 minutes to power up? General Hayes asked incredulously as they hurried toward the facility's command center. You're telling me the most advanced space-faring civilization in our region has a startup delay on their defensive systems? It's an older model. Zex snapped defensively. Budget cuts. The Hegemony Council prioritized the central systems over frontier patrol vessels. Krell's crystalline eyes pulsed with urgency. The Vraxarians will target the quantum facility first. They must have detected its energy signature. Then we evacuate, the President declared. General, initiate Protocol Exodus immediately. With respect, Madam President, there's no time, Amara interrupted, pulling up schematics on the nearest console. But I might have another option. Commander, you said our quantum technology is primitive compared to yours, but it has one advantage: it's unpredictable. The raiders won't know what to expect. Zex chittered skeptically. What exactly are you suggesting, human? We reconfigure the reactor to emit a targeted quantum pulse. It won't have the range or power of your weapons, but if we can disrupt their navigation systems long enough for your cruiser to bring its defenses online. The alien commander studied her with all 3 eyes. That's not entirely foolish, though the probability of success is minimal. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Amara muttered. I'll need access to your quantum core, Krell interjected. With minor modifications, I can enhance the disruptive effect. General Hayes grimaced. You want us to let an alien tinker with our most classified technology? Would you prefer to be harvested by Vraxarians? Zex asked dryly. I've seen their collection methods. Most unpleasant. The President nodded grimly. Do it. Dr. Chen, work with Officer Krell. You have 15 minutes. As they raced toward the reactor chamber, the building shook violently. The raiders had begun their assault. The Vraxarian commander, Zex'Varrax, was having a delightful day. Finding a pre-integration world with quantum technology was rare enough. Discovering it while a Hegemony vessel was vulnerable? That was the kind of luck that led to promotions, or at the very least, an extremely profitable raid. Status report, he growled to his bridge officer, sharp teeth gleaming in the dim red light of the command deck. Primitive defense systems neutralized, Commander. Their aircraft are falling from the sky. Surface-to-air weaponry ineffective against our shields. Hegemony cruiser detected in orbit but defensive systems offline. Perfect. Torque purred, claws clicking against his command chair. Target the quantum energy source. Prepare harvesting teams for immediate deployment. His second-in-command, a hulking brute with scarred battle armor, leaned forward. The energy readings are unusual, Commander. Not consistent with standard quantum signatures. Of course they're unusual. Torque snapped. These primitives stumbled upon quantum manipulation through sheer luck. Their methods would naturally be crude and inefficient. If he had been less dismissive, less arrogant in his technological superiority, what happened next might have been avoided. But overconfidence had always been the downfall of raiders and empires alike. This is absolutely insane, Amara muttered as she and Krell modified the quantum reactor's emitter array. I've known aliens exist for less than 12 hours, and now I'm reconfiguring experimental technology to fight space pirates. Krell's crystalline form hummed with what might have been amusement. If it helps, most species experience similar disorientation during first contact scenarios. The reactor core pulsed with eerie blue light as they worked, the entire facility shuddering under the Vraxarian bombardment. Through the intercoms, they could hear General Hayes coordinating the desperate defense. Are you certain this modification will work? Amara asked, wiping sweat from her brow. Absolutely not, Krell replied matter-of-factly. The interaction between our technologies is unprecedented. But theoretical models suggest a 62% chance of success. That's not entirely reassuring. Would you prefer I lied to improve morale? Actually, yes. Another explosion rocked the facility, closer this time. The lights flickered ominously. Final calibration complete, Krell announced. We need to initiate the pulse from the main control room. They sprinted through corridors now filled with smoke and debris. When they finally reached the control center, they found Commander Zex, the President, and General Hayes huddled around tactical displays. 7 minutes until my cruiser's shields are operational, Zex reported tersely. The raiders have breached the outer perimeter. We're ready, Amara announced, sliding into a control station. But I should warn you, this is going to be rough. The pulse will affect everything within a 10-kilometer radius, including us. Define effect, General Hayes growled. Best case scenario? Temporary disruption of quantum-based systems. Worst case? She shrugged helplessly. Reality hiccups. Reality hiccups? The President repeated slowly. Localized space-time anomalies, Krell explained. Nothing too severe. Probably. Commander Zex clicked his mandibles in what Amara was beginning to recognize as resignation. Wonderful. Potential reality fractures caused by experimental human technology. This report will certainly advance my career. If we survive to file it, Krell noted pragmatically. The building shook violently as a particularly close explosion hit. The lights failed completely, emergency systems bathing everything in red. They've reached the main entrance, someone reported. 3 minutes until breach. Amara's fingers flew across the controls, initiating the activation sequence. Everyone brace yourselves. This is going to get weird. Story of my life. Zex muttered. Zex'Varrax was moments away from the greatest triumph of his raiding career when his tactical officer screamed in alarm. Energy spike! Massive quantum fluctuation detected. Impossible, Torque snarled. Their technology is too primitive to. He never finished the sentence. Reality rippled. That was the only way to describe it. Space itself seemed to fold and unfold like origami in the hands of a sugar-crazed child. Every quantum-based system on the Vraxarian vessels, which was essentially everything, went haywire simultaneously. Down on the lead ship's bridge, gravity inverted, then twisted sideways, then ceased altogether. Navigation systems showed them simultaneously occupying 17 different positions. Weapons systems fired backward, sideways, and into alternate probability states. And through it all, piercing the chaos of screaming raiders and failing systems, came a transmission, originating from the primitive facility they'd been so eager to harvest. It worked! Rod shouted, staring at the displays in disbelief. All 7 raider vessels have been neutralized. In the aftermath of the quantum pulse, the control room was in disarray. Several consoles had melted into abstract art. General Hayes was inexplicably speaking backward, though the effect seemed to be wearing off. And Commander Zex, well, for about 30 seconds, he had existed as 3 slightly out-of-phase versions of himself, all equally irritated. Neutralized is an overstatement, Krell corrected, her crystalline form still pulsing with residual energy. Their systems are temporarily disrupted. We have perhaps 5 minutes before they recover. Time enough, Zex declared, tapping commands into his communication device. My cruiser's defensive systems are now online, targeting Vraxarian vessels. On the screens, they watched as precise energy beams lanced down from orbit, disabling the Raider's engines with surgical precision. Open a channel to the lead vessel, Zex ordered. When the connection established, they found themselves face to face with a creature that resembled nothing so much as an angry lizard in battle armor, surrounded by floating debris and disoriented crew members. This is Commander Zex'Varrax of the Galactic Hegemony. Your vessels are disabled and targeted for immediate destruction. Surrender or be vaporized. The Vraxarian commander hissed furiously. You dare! We detected no operational defenses on your cruiser. Yes, well, Zex's mandibles clicked in what Amara now recognized as smugness. It appears you underestimated both the Hegemony and our new allies. He gestured toward the humans, and Amara felt a strange surge of pride. Allies? That was a significant promotion from primitive potential threat. The Vraxarian's reptilian eyes narrowed. You're bluffing. The Hegemony would never ally with pre-integration primitives. Perhaps you've not been paying attention to recent policy changes, Zex replied smoothly. But more importantly, you've just witnessed what their primitive quantum technology can do. Imagine what might happen if they decided to send another pulse, one specifically calibrated for Vraxarian physiology. Even through the distorted transmission, they could see the Raider commander pale. You wouldn't dare. The compact prohibits the compact, Zex interrupted coldly. Doesn't apply to non-member species. And Earth hasn't signed anything, yet. A tense silence followed, broken only by the sound of failing systems on the Vraxarian bridge. Fine, the Raider commander finally snarled. We withdraw. But this isn't over, Zex'Varrax. It never is. Zex sighed wearily as the transmission cut. He turned to face the humans, all 3 eyes blinking in what might have been respect. Well, that was unexpected. Did you just use us as a diplomatic threat? General Hayes asked, sounding more impressed than offended. Indeed, Krell confirmed. Quite effectively, too. The President stepped forward. So where does this leave us, Commander? Are we still a concern to your hegemony? Zex exchanged glances with Krell before answering. You remain unpredictable. But perhaps that's not entirely negative. The Vraxarians certainly found it convincing. I told you they were fascinating, Dorn exclaimed, somehow having reappeared at precisely the right moment. The Council will be absolutely thrilled. The Council, Zex corrected dryly. We'll have a collective neurological event. But they cannot ignore what happened here. He fixed his gaze on Amara. Your quantum technology, while dangerously erratic, shows remarkable potential. With proper guidance, are you offering an alliance? The President asked directly. I'm offering dialogue, Zex clarified. The beginning of a relationship that could eventually lead to Earth's integration into the galactic community. Under certain conditions, of course. Of course, General Hayes muttered. And so, in the smoke-filled control room of a partially destroyed research facility, human history took an unexpected turn. Earth, long considered an insignificant backwater by galactic standards, had just made the interstellar community tremble. Not through conquest or aggression, but through sheer unpredictability and the accidental discovery of quantum manipulation. As Amara looked at the assembled group, humans and aliens standing together amid the aftermath of reality hiccups, she couldn't help but laugh. Is something amusing, Dr. Chen? Zex inquired, mandibles twitching. Just thinking, she replied with a grin. That for a routine survey mission, this day turned out to be anything but routine. For any of us. Indeed, the alien commander agreed, and if Mandibles could smile, his might have quirked upwards slightly. I suspect the galaxy will never be quite the same. In the orbit above them, the disabled Vraxarian vessels were being towed away by the Hegemony cruiser. On screens throughout the facility, news reports showed confused humans worldwide grappling with confirmation that they were not alone in the universe. And in the quantum core below, the blue light pulsed steadily, a beacon of potential that had changed humanity's cosmic status from primitive curiosity to approach with caution. Not bad for a species that still couldn't agree on pizza toppings. As cultural specialist Dorn would later report to the astonished Hegemony Council. Earth was considered primitive until their quantum arsenal made empires tremble. But more importantly, they have something called reality television that you simply must experience. It's even more confusing than their actual reality. Some things, it seemed, remained mysterious even to advanced civilizations.